Yes, my people, we're back again with another video. This time round, a reaction. If you're new to the channel, this is Let's Talk Therapy. I am Welcome. Yes, my name is Welcome. I'm a trainee psychotherapist, and I'm here sharing my experience as a trainee therapist, as well as giving my thoughts and takes to the culture as through the lens of a trainee therapist. Thank you very much to all the people that have shown love to my last video, my presentation on Black Fathers Part 1. I'll be dropping Part 2 later this week, but this time around I did say that I'll be doing little sort of videos in between hands. So this is one of the off videos away from the presentation. My bad, people. I didn't see the fight. Obviously I saw the highlights, but this was sparking around emotional kind of. And I think this comes at a right time because at this moment of time, of course, I'm showing you my presentation that I did on Black Fathers. So, man, let's get straight into it. Like I said, I came across this video this morning, and I was a bit astonished and a bit sad. I even commented on this video, but let's hear this gentleman. Once again, I believe this guy's name is Chinks, and you got CHZO, and you got Kid as well. Hear these man speak about. I do not recommend having any children, which was a quote by Kid. But yeah, people, let's get into it.
Up to like one on a good day, like 1,300 hours. I'm not up to.
Yeah, I phoned this guy in the morning. He just rings out and says, "There's no point in just."
My phone rings at 20 to 9, yeah, and it says to my daughter's school, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to answer it, but I gotta be responsible, like the comments say. So I answer it now, yeah, and my baby mum, she said, I don't want to talk to the school no more. You let them call you because they call me for too much foolishness. And I'm like, nah, man, it's your child, man. You can't. What if it's an emergency and all that? So they got my number now. They call me. Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's 20 to 9. You know, school ain't even started yet. So they're like, yeah, your daughter's got like red dye in her hair. She's had red dye. She's been telling me she's trying to get it out, and she's been trying to get it out, but she couldn't get it out in time for school. Can you possibly send us an email or something and say that she's tried to get the dye out? And I'm like, I just hung up, and I didn't go back. I didn't bother with it no more. How you gonna phone me for that foolishness? You want me to email what she's just told you? What's the difference of the email?
They want to log it.
So I worked in a school for 2 years, right? I was a TA until I moved to a different school, and I was working for a school for a couple months as agency, right? So that's my way I was hustling and bustling till I can afford, to do my course. But nevertheless, the point of logging it in was very important. So in terms of safeguarding or to build a bigger picture around that certain child, right? And because let's say there was a kid at lunchtime, every lunchtime he was having fights. What's really happening with that child? And then if you can find a way of helping and supporting that child, then you might get parents involved, you get the head teacher involved as well, you get the Senko, or you get those sort of counselor maybe, or you get certain teachers that can work with that child. Even to stuff like, we had the medical team, so the TAs had to rotate like every break time, to be in the medical departments for any kids that got hurt. And not only we helped those kids, obviously we put a plaster or whatnot, but at the same time you also had to log it down, right? So logging down is very important. Of course, there was minor things, and then some people were like, oh, do you have to log that down? It's cool, but then nevertheless, you still had to communicate to another teacher to say, okay, this is what happened to a certain child as well. So it's very important to log it in, especially in today's climate as well. You have to log it in. Now as training therapists, I can imagine as well bringing me some notes from the GP that speaks about, okay, this is what's happening in the school. That might help us a bit of picture to work with that child as well through a trainee psychotherapist sort of perspective. But within a school, yes, you had to log it down as well, right? And it might be on the other side of it as well. You could be a parent thinking, right, yeah, my school calls me all the time, and what I'm saying about my kid, Yes, formalities, right? So,
do you know what I mean? Formalities. Oh man, they're useless, man.
Formalities, right?
It's an adult world. That's nonsense, man. She just told you ahead, but when you want to get her in trouble, you wanted to write a statement. Her word's good enough, but now it's not. I tell you, if you don't have kids yet, don't rush, because it's headache.
I don't think you should have kids at all.
What did he say?
This was a brazy comment. So, Kid and Chinks were on a podcast with My Name is China, and they were speaking about how many kids they had as well, their experiences of fatherhood and everything around that nature. So it's funny to me because first and foremost, I referenced them in my presentation that you will see in part 2. But also, it's like, he says you shouldn't have, I don't recommend kids, but he has kids himself. So I'm almost like instantly I'm just confused, because if you have kids, why, if you didn't want to have kids, then you shouldn't have kids. This is just me, this is not me as a training therapist. This is just my sort of thought process, right? And of course you can say things happen and everything. So when you do have a child, to say that, I still find that crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I wouldn't say, for me personally, like, I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't recommend having my own children. Like, I could not say that at all. Like, despite my circumstance, despite me, of course, I could, in my own nation, I could be like, I don't have my own crib yet. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have 6 figures.
Get your money up, not your funny up.
That doesn't take away that I'm so happy that I have my kids, right? And it's not saying that kid doesn't. It's not saying that kid doesn't. But let's just hear what he has to say upon that statement, because that is brazy.
I don't think you have kids at all, bro.
Yeah, for real. Justify that as a man.
Do you know why, though?
Kids in the dance.
Because the main thing, yeah, is obviously when you're old and grey, you need someone to look after you, innit?
That's not the main thing.
That's not the main thing.
What's it for then? If a woman ain't around, when you're an old man, who's gonna look after you? But you don't.
Your kids are only to wipe your back when you're old.
From the women, let's go for the women's side. Obviously, we're not women, so you can't really comment. They take a part of their body, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
They take our money.
Now, am I speaking from a privileged place? You let me know, people, right? He says, take our money, right? This is where language is very important. If you're going to be speaking about yourself, speak about, like you say, it would be nice if you be more personal. Like, he might not choose to, but this is where people get a bit confused, because he says they take our money, but then I would never say that my missus has taken my money. I would never say it in that sort of way. If it's a banter thing, then yeah, fair enough. But it seems like it's not. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, the context is that these men are having a dialogue. These men are having a conversation, right? And I like to think that you got to be careful about your sort of language, because... And I like to think that other guys as well would say the same thing. Other women will be the same thing. Of course, you might say, where. Like, a lot of these guys... It's all out there to say that women thief your money. Like, I get it, because that's the news. That's what people see. But this is where I'm just trying to give a different sort of perspective here, right? So we're breaking our backs, and for that as well, we know, okay, because we're doing that, it's important for us to communicate, right? It's important for us to share, okay, how we doing this money thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So, because at the same time, we know the betterment is that it will be better for us and it will be better for our kids, right?
They take our looks.
What do you mean by that?
We give them a name. What the hell? How they helping us, bro?
Oh, you think that automatically means they're gonna...
Wait, so this is why I get a bit confused. This is where you need direction in these type of things, because it's like, he says, I don't recommend having any children, but now he's talking about women taking stuff away from us, right? I'm just critiquing it, and I'm just sharing my thought process. That's all I'm doing, and this is not from a therapeutic sort of level. This is just me as just welcome. You feel me?
So you can't think of no possible other reasons of having kids?
No, not as a man anyway. As a woman, yeah, it grows in you lot build a bond with them before the child's...
As a man. Listen, I find Kid very interesting. I really do. I would love to have a conversation with him.
Even here, this, that, and the other. Yeah, I understand that. But as a man, I don't know the benefits of having children, bro.
What did he say?
I don't know why I find it funny, but okay, as a man, of course, there's many different takes, right, from that sort of perspective, right? I guess I should be a bit more personal in contrast to he's saying it very, very just generic, right? So for me, the reason why I have my boys is because it's a selfish act. Like, my boys never asked to be here, right? As a man, to know that, you can pass on sort of your knowledge and your wisdom, and there's something that's great. It's not saying that women don't have that. They have it in their own very unique way. But then if I'm here generalizing, we had great men, great leaders. And that's one thing I like to pass on to my kids. I can give them the nice trainers or give them good education, but it's them to have the good knowledge and manners and respect for themselves, to teach that, before you give it to others, respect yourself. And with that, you have to be humble, you have to be gracious, you have to show a bit of vulnerability, right? And I think that's a very important trait, to pass that on, because then I will ask him, okay, what do you mean? So if I had to ask Kid then, I was like, so what does it mean for yourself then? Like, you're a father yourself, do you think you can't pass anything down onto your kids?
Uniform. Obviously, I know parents are the uniform
is whooping man's ass.
So, once give you a bit of sort of knowledge and interesting facts about uniform. He's right, by the way. Uniform is pricey as hell. Find out if your school does like a second-hand sale. So my missus found out that the school that my son goes to does a second-hand sale. So she was able to get 4 pairs of shorts for like £10. But you can go on Vinted and just look for grey shorts, right? So these are the places where you can find some school uniform right there. So just some game for you parents out there. But then he's now gone on to the pricing of things. So is that a reason why you don't have kids? Which it could be valid. You know, a lot of people say you can't afford children. Children are expensive, and it is true. Well, children are expensive, yes, but we do not have the salaries to accommodate that, or we don't have the facilities to accommodate for, you know, for people that don't have those sort of money, right? It's very tough out here, and that speaks more on a global issue or on an issue that that the UK faces. But what he's saying is right. So people can be deterred from having children because how expensive things are nowadays.
Is it still? I have I write down everything I spend.
Do you?
Yeah, I have an app that tracks everything I spend. So cash, I write it down.
I think that's really good though. I think that's very organised, and this is something that I would probably, you know, my beef with schools is that nowadays we have to teach kids financial literacy. The fact, and you got apps as well, you got AI to do that as well. This is what I'm saying. AI and these, you know, far advanced technology are not a bad thing. We just need to know how to use them properly, and that goes to show for adults as well. If you're someone that doesn't, you know, very good at managing money, there are apps and
banks, like I can kind of be lazy because I can fill it in later, pause. So I have my expense.
The pause thing is crazy, by the way. I hate it, but I can't help but saying it as well. Like in certain moments with certain things, it almost warrants a pause, but at the same time you can say so loosely, and it's crazy.
Are accounted. It's the unaccountable expenses that piss me off. Like my daughter's, I gave her the phone, so that's cost me money to provide her with it, and then she smashed it the other day. Now this is 65 quid out the blue just to
bring back the Nokia phone, bro. Just bring it back. Get an Alcatel. If you guys know about them type of phones, they're Alcatels. That's what my mum gave me, bro. Alcatel. My mum swiped my BBM because my dad bought it, and my mum said anything your dad buys you is bad, so she took my BBM. But nevertheless, I had an Alcatel. If you guys know about Alcatel, let me know in the comments. But kids shouldn't be having phones like this. But I get it at the same time, because when BBM was out, I wanted a BBM. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you're a young kid now, like who's like 13, 14, like, bro, you're expected to have an iPhone.
To repair it, and I have to do it because then I can't communicate with her.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, to double back, yeah, don't you, having kids, don't you want your family tree branch to continue?
Don't give a toss about it.
Oh, for real?
Don't give a toss.
That's so interesting. It's so, to me, it's so fascinating. Like, he has a lot of kids, and he doesn't give a toss about it. I don't know, because I don't know. Is it me just the fairy tale? Is it the privilege that I have? Or is it because I've been exposed to the idea of... And bear in mind, guys, I come from a single parent household, especially when we talk about generational traumas. I think I would like to be like, oh, right, like I'm one of those generations where I get to sort of change, and I get to change within. And I think those are things that I can almost control. Like me and my missus can control our ways of managing and parenting our children. And I think because we are that generation that are starting to talk about mental health and generational traumas, and I think that's really good. I think we get to sort of pass that sort of knowledge down. So yeah, and I would like to have a whole lineage. Like, I'm fascinated, and I'm really excited about those type of things. And so even me as a parent and me and my missus, we turn around and be like, yeah, we would love to have our little linear of family. Like, but it's interesting that kid says he doesn't give a toss about it. And bear in mind, I'm not here, like I said, I want to remind people, we're not shaming here. We're not shaming here. People do things very differently. I'm just trying to unpack it. I'm trying to I'm trying to put questions. I'm trying to give my thought process.
Your whole family tree, the branch, you don't care if yours just ends.
Don't give a fuck. Why do I care? It's not to do with me.
It's in the end.
What's not to do with me? Once I'm gone, bro. Why do I care what's happening after me?
You're still here. In them.
Oh, well, my son, he was like, oh, your dad was a great man. Look at him on YouTube doing a podcast. So?
Nah, but
everyone else can say that. oh, that's my dad, you know.
No, but
Okay, so this is where I disagree. You're more than just a dad. Like when I'm at home with my kids, right? I'm not just dad. Like I am welcome with my own history, my own sort of values and principles, and my own personality that I share with my children. I get to be welcome. My missus gets to be my missus. You know what I mean? She gets to be Julieta, right? And Julieta and welcome are parenting Casper and Kamari, right? And yes, we have the roles of mum and dad, and obviously it has its principles and values with that. But at the same time, it starts with me, right? Who am I? Do you know what I mean? What does a dad mean to me, or what does it mean to be a mum? Right? What have I been brought up, or what are the values that I've sort of been instilled with that I want to carry on or not to carry on, right? It's much more than that. That's why it's because, yes, you're right, anyone can be a dad. But then again, who is that dad is much more important. And we want to share that with our kids. It's not just, I am dad. I don't go to my boys and be like, I am dad, I am dad. No. Yes, I hold dad because that's my name. But more importantly, I am welcome. This is where you got to ask, why?
Why?
I'm not saying I'm criticizing their interview skills. I'm not, but these men are just probably just chatting. But at the same time, but why am I, bro?
What,
Not
you don't
at
think
all.
so?
No, I don't
You
think
be
so.
living in a better place though?
Huh?
You be living better?
No, not at all. You got to factor all the things that happened during them eras, innit? I'll give you an example. My granddad was wealthy, innit? Biafran War happened. White.
what happened?
The war.
What war?
Civil War. So we went from bread to... You get what I'm saying? So that's not his fault. It's just shit happens, innit?
And quickly, sorry, I wanted to give a perspective as a trainee therapist. When a client comes in, I am looking at the outer world as well as much as their inner world. So their inner world being who they are individually, and you know their upbringing and so forth. But then when you're looking at the outer world, you're looking at the things that could impact them, right? So politically, economically, education, school, like things that happen in the outer world, right? I look at it from the lens of the outer world versus the inner world, right? So both things to sort of consideration because these things do have an impact. Like CHZO said, the Civil War came, the money that they've built to have, Civil War came, wiped it out, right? And that obviously impacts the family sort of structure, and that impacts the inner world of the individual.
Like, the ones after you, he was thinking about us, but he lost his P. So that's why I can't think like that after.
And then you can probably imagine in that time that probably installed that sort of pressure. So young kids, you have to do this for the family. You have to go out there, get the money, feed the family, make sure that we're okay, and you have to pass that on. So that's why we might feel the pressures, especially in that sort of African sort of culture or Jamaican culture, has that experience where they feel that the burden of the family pressure of you have to do this for us, right? And you have to pass that on to your family. That is a massive pressure that people face, and I do speak about that on my presentation as well.
To think, right, my man done this.
But would you prefer it to be on the wealthy side though?
Huh?
Would you prefer to be on the wealthy
Of
side?
course.
It wouldn't make you who you are today though. You wouldn't appreciate shit.
You sure?
would.
No.
Appreciate shit.
I think mentally, it's a family thing still.
Nah, I reckon you'd be a spoiled brat, bro. Like one of my female brethren, her mum passed away, and her mum was at the.
He's crazy to call CHZO. He'll be a spoiled brat. That's nuts.
Somewhere big time, innit? Big peas, but when they're going through town, they're getting escorted through in that. Her mum passed away, whatever, this, that, and the other. She's council living now, bro.
I think you know
And
what it
I
is.
feel like she's.
Yeah, but that's one individual's experience, right? You have to look at different sort of experience. You can't use that experience as a generalization for other people's sort of experience, because what you could say is that another person's experience could be like, "Raw, my mum passed, but she left a will." Right, and then now I'm able to use that will to fund my education or to fund for me to travel abroad, or do you get what I'm saying? So you can't use that. You can always flip it, right? So the conversation started from I don't recommend having kids, and that is spiraled into an idea of like, okay, how these things could sort of impact for you not having kids, but that doesn't stop people from having kids. So that's why I'm confused and interested to hear like, hey, this is why you've got, when you're making statements like this, you have to talk more from a personal point of view, how that impacts you as opposed to a general sort of statement. The way I look at it is semantics. I don't know if I'm making sense there, but yeah.
A bit spoiled because she's like, I used to count this money.
But so he says that, oh yeah, she's a spoiled brat, but at the same time, that could be different because from a therapeutic lens, this could be a position of a girl that, she probably saw her mum do it. she probably saw her mum spend, and adopted that same mannerism, right? Or she may not have been taught that language surrounding money or how to save money, right? Or because it can be a deep thing that people are like that. People can be spoiled, I get that, but it's not just because they inherit that money. It's because sometimes there can be underneath sort of traumas or triggers that happens, and sometimes displacement. You know, when people say I have a shopping addiction, or I just keep spending, or I have a money addiction where I just keep spending money left, right, and center, that can come from some sort of idea of trauma. Not always, not all the time, but like I said, I'm talking from a therapeutic sort of lens there. So you got to unpack that as well. So yes, you can easily say on surface level spoiled brat, but when you're in a therapy room, I'm always going to be unpacking. Okay, why is that the case? What, you know, why do you attribute that? Why do you spend money like that? Where does that come from? Where was the first time you heard the idea of money, or how do you think your parents spent the money? Was you given money, or was you not given money? And how did that sort of impact you? Those are the type of things that will be going on my head if I had a client like that.
I used to pay for this. We had maids do this. Now she's got to do the washing, do the cleaning herself. But to a certain extent, she appreciates the things more now. But she's a bit spoiled. She's like, I shouldn't have to do this. Why should you not have to do this? Why not?
But yeah, so yeah, this was more of my reaction, and I don't know if that was sort of pessimistic. I don't know if that sounds like if I was coming across like negatively critiquing what these men were saying. Maybe I missed the mark as well. But like I said, it's not here. I'm not here to shame these men as fathers at all. That's not what we're gonna do here. But you know, it brings up a sort of conversation. Let's go on a lighter note.
I looked at Chris Senior and I said to him, grabbed him by the neck, and I said, mate, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you turn up. You know, because outside of everything else, outside of all the noise and the promotion and the fight, your relationship with your dad never goes. That's always there. That's long standing. That's without boxing. You know, what's boxing? You know, what is it? You know, because I'd pick the relationship with my dad over boxing any day of the week. You know, so to see them two, if this has brought them together, God, that's worth its weight in gold.
That's right.
That's worth its weight in gold. I looked.
God, that worth so weight in gold.
What did he say?
What a contrast to both videos right there. I even feel moved by that as well. So anyways, people, listen, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for all the people that is showing love and support to the channel. I really do appreciate it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel validated. It makes me come here and sit down and do these type of videos. So I love the support at the moment. So let's keep pushing out the conversation. Let's keep pushing out this content. And yeah, people, I'll see you in the next video. And that's when I'll drop my part 2 of my Black Fathers presentation. Take care, people, in a bit.